Planet Dolan.
From convincing kids that the Earth is flat to being a kid's new dad, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit, Best Lies We've Made Kids Believe, Part 2. I'm Melissa, and today, I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by NextGenGamer12. When Dolan was in school, a student who was much younger than him once asked him if the Earth was round. He decided to mess with the kid and said, "Actually, the Earth is flat. It's just a conspiracy that it is round. It's definitely never been proven." The kid thanked Dolan and went to class. After school, he bumped into the kid again, who told Dolan that he needed the answer for a really important test, so he was glad he didn't write something stupid like the Earth was round. Dolan felt kinda guilty, and decided to own up to the kid's teacher for the misguided answer on his test. Number 9 was submitted by OpalLunaGatos. Emoji had a 9-year-old niece who was starting to take an interest in baseball. Emoji was a major fan of the New York Yankees, and wanted his niece to support the team too. So, he decided to tell his niece that the team's rival, the Boston Red Sox, was a team of evildoers who pooped on tiny babies. His niece was utterly convinced that every single person who played for the Red Sox was involved in mass baby pooping before and after every game. She believed this for 5 years, until Emoji came clean and told her that none of the Red Sox players had ever dumped on a child. Number 8 was submitted by HellbentIsSuperior. 2 weeks ago, Hellbent's 8-year-old neighbor asked him if he'd ever seen Santa. So, he told him that a few years ago, Santa couldn't fit through his chimney on account of being super fat, and had to enter his house through my front door. He also told him that when he saw Santa, he punched him in the face thinking he was a burglar. The kid was shocked, and asked Hellbent if Santa left him any presents. He pretended to be upset, and said that Santa had left him a single piece of coal. You know, on account of punching him and all. Number 7 was submitted by Jasonfarts. When she was a kid, Ramona went through a phase of being a bit of a jerk to the other kids. When she was bored one day, she decided to play a joke on an innocent 4-year-old. She told the kid that his mom had a dick and actually all girls have dicks. The child wasn't sure whether to trust her, so he turned around and asked his mom if it were true that all girls had schlongs. His mom looked at him with a salty face and sarcastically answered, "Yeah, sure they do." It took him a few years to realize that this wasn't 100% factual. Number 6 was submitted by Gingerlemonthyme. When he was younger, MKLM was the kid who unfortunately believed a lie. His older cousin told him that at their house, they did everything backwards. Even though MKLM had been to that cousin's house before, he still believed it. His cousin told him that they peed in the hand basin and washed their hands in the toilet. His sister and cousin somehow convinced him to do it, and as soon as he started peeing into the sink, he got busted and his cousins laughed hysterically. He learned to be a little less gullible that day. Number 5 was submitted by Doitroygsbre. Zara Gamba's young cousin asked him once about the Easter Bunny and why he only comes around once a year. He forgot how naive the kid was and told him that the Easter Bunny was a bloodthirsty beast that was kept in a cave all year and only let out on one night to feast. He then asked Zara Gamba what Jesus had to do with Easter, and he told him Jesus was the guy who removed the rock that seals the Easter Bunny's cave. Needless to say, his cousin had trouble sleeping that night, thinking a savage rabbit was going to attack him while he slept. Number 4 was submitted by Zara Blackcat. Pandora had a young brother who was annoying her one time, so she decided to play a prank on him. She told her young brother that whenever you sit on the toilet to poop, rats or mice sometimes climb out of the toilet and bite your butt. He wasn't sure whether to believe it, but he couldn't prove her wrong. Now, whenever the kid uses the bathroom, he keeps the door open just in case he needs to run out at top speed if a rat ever attacks his butthole. Number 3 was submitted by LittlelowH. For no reason whatsoever, Gergak once played a joke on a kid from his local village. He convinced a 3-year-old that he wasn't a child, but was actually 37 and an old man. At first, the kid denied it, assuring Gergak that he was definitely 3 years old. But after a few minutes, the kid started questioning his own age. What if he's right? What if I am 37? I need to get a job. I should be married by now. He ran around the village telling everyone the news that he was 37. Gergak's mother heard the commotion and had to assure the small child that he was not in fact nearly 40 years old. Number 2 was submitted by ClockworkMurph. Tolop was visiting his friend's house, where they were hanging out with their friend's 3-year-old cousin. The 3-year-old was really getting on Tolop's nerves. He was tearing apart the garden, ripping out plants, and throwing rocks. He politely asked the child to stop when he replied with, "I don't have time to listen to you, I only listen to my dad." So, Tolop blurted out, "Actually, I am your dad now, so stop digging the garden." For some reason, the kid believed him and followed him around calling him daddy for the rest of the day. Even when the kid's actual dad arrived to take him home, he yelled, "Bye, second daddy." And for number 1, I'm gonna tell you about when I got a little villain to believe my story. When I was in grade 1, Pokemon was a really big deal. And there was a kid that was convinced that there must be real Pokemon in the world. The day before, it had rained, so there were still some raindrops on the leaves. I told him that there was such a thing called bubble bugs, which existed in these raindrops, but you needed a very special microscope to be able to see them. So, on his lunch break, this kid spent 45 minutes trying to keep the raindrops together. But of course, whenever he tried to hold them, it would be absorbed into his hand. And for a long time, he was convinced that he was actually killing Pokemon. I considered telling him the truth, but I figured it would be funnier if he just found out for himself. Huge thanks for all the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have a question for you. What's the coolest thing your sibling ever did for you? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. Catch you guys next time!